I'm Pat O'Neill, for those of you that don't know, the airport manager of about 8 months or so now. On behalf of the airport staff, this is an exciting day for us. It's been a long process for my predecessors and for a lot of the staff that have some longevity here with the completion of this. So I'm kind of here picking up the end pieces, and we're very excited about the next chapter in the airport's history.
I just want to take a few moments to recognize what you all have done here. It takes a big collaborative effort, federally, state cooperation, and local participation to pull something like this off. 12 years in the making, we're talking road relocations, drainage issues. The project, the technical stuff on the project goes in from relocating a creek, working on a creek outside, inside the city limits, away from the airport for mitigation for environmental reasons. It took a huge effort on the local level to get this done. And the end result is not just 800 feet of longer runway on your main runway at this pristine airport, but what you have is you now have considerations from business users looking at your facility to come in. Its economic impacts when they land. They may now fully fuel and not have to stop somewhere else. On a day like this, 800 feet makes a big difference for a pilot when you're talking business jet operations. Because if you needed to take off, you may not be able to take off with a full load of fuel. It's 92 degrees. Airplanes do not perform that well. And so 800 feet makes a consideration to keep that money here and buy that fuel in Kokomo. It's a win for the city. It's a win for the county. It's a win for Indiana. And we are very, very excited for this to happen.
95% of the funding for this came from the federal government. 2.5% came from the Indiana Department of Transportation, and our local government came up with the other 2.5%. And again, this is over a 12-year period, and there were some variations on some grants. The federal government may have only paid 92.5%, but there were others where they paid 97%. So if you look at the whole big picture, 95 paid by the feds, 2.5 by the state, and 2.5 by local government.
The results are pretty simple. It's going to be a modernized airport, and it will continue to be recognized as one of the state's economic hubs. Kokomo will be, and this airport is a big part of that. The upgrades provide infrastructure and services that are now expected and demanded by international companies represented here in our city and in this region of the state. Even before the upgrades, the airport averaged 45 flights per day. We expect that to only be escalated. Good things are happening in Kokomo. Our economy's growing, our unemployment's down, our population is growing, and this is another important part of economic development and something else we have in our toolbox.
It's going to allow more companies, more company aircraft, heavier aircraft, more jet aircraft to come and go here. And those are movers and shakers in the world, and those are the people that make things happen and provide the opportunities and the employment and the business for the city. And that's where the economic benefit is going to be. And you may not see so much today, but in the future, you're going to see this continue to grow just because of the availability that we now offer people flying in and out.
Potential employers take an interest in communities that invest in themselves. But more than that, transportation infrastructure is really key to existing employers and potential new employers. And I think a lot of times when we think about transportation infrastructure, we think about roads, but airports play an important role as well.
Mm-hmm. And how exactly do they play a role in that?
Well, companies want to be able to connect with corporate office, for example, with customers, and with the community, and it enables them to move people in and out of the community more efficiently. A lot of times in a site selection process, if the site selection team cannot land in your community to take a look, they just pass over you and look elsewhere. So it plays a lot of roles.
Okay, and when we're talking about a site selection committee, we're actually talking about companies who are looking at our community to come in and develop. Yes.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So as companies need more capacity, they usually go through a process of determining where to put that capacity, and it's very competitive. And these are the types of investments that help us compete better.